So hello everyone, Myrmonden here. Welcome to my review of Darling In the Franxx episode 3. So I was like, this is the Netorare anime ever! Like, have you ever watched Golden Time? Golden Time, you Horia, I love Hushan, right? They have some weird Netorare in it in the middle or something. People were like, oh no, not Netorare, my anime! And people stopped casting and so on. This anime, I mean, I think it's gonna be less Netorare later on, but Jesus, wow, it's like, this full episode is like, oh, so you're gonna be with my man now? Oh, it's my girlfriend! It's like the full episode, right? From the beginning, it's Ichigo and Goro, that thing, right? She's obviously upset that she couldn't be with Hiro, and she feels like less of a woman, right? Because she couldn't, like, make him his mecha stand up, so to speak, and that, of course, makes her demoralized. Which makes sense, as a person, right? More less, obviously, and I actually really liked it in Darling In the Franxx. I actually quite liked the episode in many aspects, but I think it's great because it's less than just being like, oh, I want to be the best mecha pilot fighter or whatever. It's much more about, okay, that she obviously feels that she was kind of like Hiro's best friend or like first friend or whatever when they were kids, right? He was what named her Ichigo. He's a namer, right? And she's probably has a crush on him, been in love with him for like 10 years or whatever. And so obviously for her, it's much more like she's failed as a potential girlfriend or wife and so on, right? As a love interest, much more than failed as like a mecha partner. So I think it's a great kind of mix on that thing, that she both feels that thing and the little thing and so on, right? So I actually think it's a great episode in that sense alone. I think it's great. However, though, man, she is Netorare Goro, right? So we don't Netorare mean like cheating and passed around into genre, right? And yeah, cuckolding, I suppose you can call it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, wow. I mean, the whole thing, right? Goro is like, oh, yeah. And Goro plays the kind of the innocent husband guy, doesn't know that the wife is doing with someone else. He's like, oh, what's wrong with you, Sean? And he's like, nothing, honey. We are partners. Yeah, give me that. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Poor guy, right? I mean, you see it later as well, right? That she's losing control over the mecha because she thinks that Hiro and CO2 is doing it. And she's like, is Hiro doing it now with her? And then she controls the mecha and Goro is clueless, right? Like, my wife lost someone else. And there really has the kind of team to it where he doesn't understand that she's in love with another man, his partner and stuff. Right? So that's one Netorare. That's the first Netorare episode. Then it was obvious Netorare. They hold the face, they cuckolding in the full face of Hiro. Then Mitsuru is like, I took a girlfriend. How do you feel about that? It's like the whole thing. Yeah, it's like, you're good at tissue, boy. She's mine now. And like trying to get in that territory. Then of course he goes crazy on. And also, for that being said, he was looking in front of his wife, right? He has his partner, wife, whatever you call them, in the mecha, and she's in front of him as well. He's doing this thing. She feels kind of like, oh, we probably had a bad day. He's like, maybe we are bad partners. Give me another woman like this woman. And he blows her off, cheats with her in the face, and tells the girl he takes, her boyfriend or whatever, tells him like, yeah, she's mine now. So it's like double Netorare. It's just weird. He actually said like, we should do it together now to get back at them. It's just like, what is this anime? This is like mecha Netorare. The full episode is a lot of Netorare. This is weird. The Netorare vibe is absolutely massive in this anime. This episode is. That being said, though, it does establish that obviously 02, she can't really control herself, right? When she has the man, and the man is like weakling, or I think more like, as in Mitchell, he was like, oh yeah, I can control this woman harder, yeah. And he obviously, I like that he said we're in perfect harmony. We obviously the reverse of harmony, because he's just overbearing and tries to control her too much, right? And then she eats him up with her, I don't know, lust or something, right? And of course, she leaves later on says like, only one man for me is my darling. So obviously that's the thing there. And I like that. It kind of showed the whole thing. And that made a lot of sense. So that's great as well. I also actually really like that the bratty, kind of annoying kid, obviously the least, I think most people probably decide the character the most, right? The kind of classic, annoying, like bratty, kind of juvenile, bully guy that they have on the side, right? Him, his name is like Mika, right? Miku, yeah. She got in, you're right, and after he hugs her, she's like, oh, I love you, kind of thing. He's like, get off me, this is weird, you're never this comfortable with me. He's like, come on. Then he's like, then later he sees a cap on hand comment drive. He's like, you're a good guy at all. What do you mean, but after all, and that kind of thing. So I like that too. That obviously he's kind of like you know, but that's a kind of character development for him, right? Because his character developing there realized he actually kind of love, or at least likes his partner, and the more he likes his partner, the stronger their love is, the better the connection is, right? Actually, the more power they have in the mecha. So I think that's a great thing there. It's like a weird character development thing, because it also empowers their literal power, right? So like, it develops systems like characters, the person, their romance, but also of course develop their, like, automatically makes them a stronger fighter, right? So there's an interesting thing take there. I liked it a lot. It was good as well. Then I think this a lot though, and I might have a video about it. Probably will, maybe if episodes I'll think about it more. But I think it's very clear, in my opinion, that it has to be some kind of like grander, grander Spain, right? With the whole Papa thing, the city, that whole thing, right? I think it definitely has some kind of like weird touch to it, where all the humans are kind of enslaved in a bit. They're obviously enslaved, the orphans, but all the humans is kind of be living in this weird spheres or whatever, right there, and they are not even allowed to go there because they use the orphans to use weapons, but something like that they kind of mine and guess Earth. I think it's used per Earth, right? They mine the magma, so kind of the inside of Earth, get the power up, or destroy most of the planet, right? And all the humans are kind of probably indoctrinated and living in this. It's definitely, I think definitely. The thing about taking a trip out, it's definitely going to have to probably fight the government. I think it makes sense to me a lot that they're going to go from also fighting this alien mecha thing. Is probably humans created, right? And then they are probably going to go after those things. And the kind of the main thing behind that, which actually might be the Papa or something. Or it definitely has to be a mix. I think for sure they're going to fight whoever's controlling this thing, or like change the world. It's very weird to me they wouldn't go for that. Because it seems very funky that everyone's living in this really horrible world, right? It must be a little of like Eureka 7 and so on. But all the animals, yeah, like when they have, oh, actually we could save Earth and so on, or another planet. I think definitely that has to be a part of it, where you can evolve something more for humanity, right, as a whole as well. Definitely. It might be very late in the anime though, but I think that's going to happen. Then you're going to have two different enemies, yeah, the Klasseros and like I call it the government, but the world leader or whatever. That thing is super freaky, right? Looks like a kind of cult. Definitely doesn't look like good people. They might be good though, and he's doing the best they can, but it could be someone pulling the strings, it could be something else, but I think definitely something more to it, right? That they will have to change the system, I think, in somehow, and they're gonna have to fight. And also think about that as well, because they have their mechas interpretation, and then you have the other places probably around the planet, right, with other people living. So they can also be there to fight other mechas, right? Other mechas that become there and be like, oh, you can't fight the government, we are here to stop you, and they fight other guys, probably later on, right? Because they can definitely have another teams every now and then, right, who are loyal to like the evil system. So for sure it's gonna happen. But anyway, I think this was really good. I think it's about a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it was a really good episode. I think it has, even though, I mean, if you like Netorare, this is a god for you. Like that, it's a weird episode, but I really like this. Hope to see you guys next week, and subscribe.